What is happening, people? Welcome back to the channel. KG is back for another live stream. Should be a pretty packed show today. I got a few items on the agenda to discuss today, including someone I believe that we should sign, whether we're in the championship or go up to the Premier League, and I'll explain why I think it will work on both fronts. We're going to speak about the Leeds allocation and everything else, including the playoff final, obviously, as we build up closer to that game. I've said to you a few days ago, I'm very calm. I'm getting a little bit more nervous now. There's just so much riding on the game. And of course, we'll speak about that a little bit and a few other bits and pieces. We're going to speak about Willy Gnonto coming out and speaking about the transfer saga of last summer and his perspective of it as well. And of course, listen, before we get into things, you know the drill, people. Like the video, share it around, drop your comments if they're sensible. You know how it goes. And thank you to Mr. P for a super thanks on the last video. And if you want to become a member of the channel, thank you to all existing members. And if you want to become a member, the link is in the description. Adrian here, afternoon, KG, and afternoon, morning, night, wherever you are around the world, man. Yes, so we've got a bit to get into. Mike in the house. Mike, you know, every time I see a Seshko link, now I think of you. Just think about that. I don't even know what you look like, Mike. But whenever I see Seshko, he hasn't decided his future yet, Mike. Give you a little update. He's going to decide whether he stays at Leipzig another year, but Saudi is out of the question, but he may be coming to the Prem or Italy or Spain. So, you know, we'll keep an eye on that. Maybe if we go up, we can be in that conversation, man. Jason in the house, good to catch you live. Yeah. Listen, it's a kind of a different time, isn't it? 4 o'clock. You get different people in the chat as well. Different people can see it live. So it's all good, man. It's all good. Mike follows up. He's Leeds, and you know he is. I could see it. You know, Listen, Mike, I'm like you. I've signed him on Football Manager myself, man. I've fallen in love with him that way. But he's good in real life. That's the thing. And yeah, afternoon to everybody, man. Arson saying, looking forward to the impressions. I don't think I've got one. Deshaun in the house, afternoon. Yeah, listen, good to see everyone in the chat, man. Good to see everyone. Robert, great to see you too, my man. Great to see you too. Let's start off with the light stuff before I get into Jordan James. Pause, as he's only 19. And he's a he, and I don't swing that way. But you know what I mean, people. We have Leeds United just announced probably maybe 10 minutes ago as when I'm doing this video that the allocation at Wembley is sold out, which I think is to the surprise of nobody. And they continue to say, we will continue to work with Wembley Stadium should any further allocations become available. So it's sold out, but maybe there may be some, I bet it will be probably corporate tickets that are being given back. Again, that's one of the ugly sides of the game that fans don't like to talk about, but you know, it does happen. You know, corporate get tickets. If they're not taken up, they'll go back into general sale kind of thing. It does suck, but that is football. These people are part of sponsors that are paying for these occasions. So it's the way it goes. But yeah, to the fact that we've sold out, it comes to no surprise. And yeah, it should be a rowdy atmosphere. Cookie, who's a member of the channel, he said that he's going down for work as well. So that's even better for him, and I hope he has a great day with that. But yeah, man, just good on the club. It's obviously, I think Southampton sold out their allocation too. So Wembley, it's going to be a ruckus occasion, isn't it? I've done my and the realization of it comes because we're still waiting for the press conference from Daniel Farke. I assume it's going to be tomorrow, maybe Friday, because the game's Sunday. But I've done the streams now for the watch along and the match reaction. And that's when the realization hits that everything is on the line in this game. Like I've said it on here before, but I'll say it again. You're literally one game away from playing Oxford United twice next year or Manchester City twice. There's no in between. You know what I mean? That it's just huge. And I wonder if that will get onto the players as well as Southampton's as well, the realization of just how big this one game of football is to decide in the fates of either club. It's incredible, isn't it? Or Pep say, it's incredible. It's incredible. Paul in the house. I'll be going down on the day before, just working out the tube routes. London is a hellish place. I love it, man. Listen, I'm originally from London, so it's one of those things that whenever I go back, it just feels like home to me. But yeah, the tubes are fine, man. Once you get your bearings around the tube, work out which line you need to go on and everything else like that, it'll be a doddle for you, man. I promise. But yeah, just as I said before, though, in regards to people that are going, especially if you're going down a day before, etc. There is that Manchester derby, that is the FA Cup as well. So just be aware that if you're wearing your Leeds colours and there's police presence, just be mindful of that. That's all I'll say. Um, Rich, with this manager merry-go-round happening, why is it only our manager not getting linked with anywhere? Oh, come on, Rich. The player I've got actually. I think Daniel Farke would like him. I think it's a plus for both. But again, I'll get into that in just a moment. So yeah, there you go. In addition to that, though, just keeping on the playoff thing, it is confirmed we will be playing, as confirmed by the club yesterday, that we are wearing our home shirt. So there you go. We now know that we will be wearing our white kit. So there you go. No worries about the pink one, or more generally the blue one, which we haven't won in. But LUFC data come out with this post, which put a couple people on edge. You know how it goes, voodoo and all that. But LUFC data here with the numbers. Leeds record wearing the white shirt in 23-24 games, away from Ellen Road, I should say. Sorry, let me complete that. Shirt away from Ellen Road in 23-24 games, 12, won 9, drawn 3, lost 0. So there we are again, people. We're going with these narratives again. I mentioned in the last live stream I did, that the two clubs that have gone through in the League Two, League One playoffs did not beat their opponents during the season. Comes to the game at Wembley, they win the game, and just shows you that the regular season doesn't matter when it comes to this. We have to win this. Please win this, Leeds. Otherwise, we'll be breaking two. We'll be the team that goes on to lose against the opponent that beat us twice in the league, and also we'll ruin this white home shirt record for this season. So let's not do that. Let's just go with the good stuff and carry on that form. Gavin, Farke to Chelsea. You see, it's funny, with Pochettino gone, the names that have been linked, I'll be very surprised, because Kieran McKenna and Enzo Maresco, who've obviously both been promoted with Ipswich and Leicester respectively, have been linked with that job because they want a younger, more progressive coach, which is apparently what they want to do. So it's very interesting to see if those two stay with the teams. Kieran McKenna, you'd think, would stay with Ipswich, probably try and see the job through. Or maybe if he speaks to Ipswich in the summer and they say, listen, Kieran, we've got funds, but not as much as you would like, maybe he looks at the Chelsea thing. Who knows? Very interesting. Chelsea is a managerial merry-go-round every summer, isn't it? No surprise. So yeah, there we are in terms of the transfers. In terms of the playoff final. And of course, we'll build up closer to it as the days go on. We're on Wednesday now, just 4 days away, people. It's flying by, absolutely flying. Yeah, I mean, I've seen that as well. Gavin, company pass. I don't know if he's definitely going. Gavin, is that definite now? I know they've been in talks. It just shows you, isn't it? I mean, listen, I don't mind company, but I hold him to the same regard as I hold Frank Lampard. I'm not going to change the message just because it's Vincent Kompany, and I like Vincent Kompany. He literally got relegated with Burnley, and part of the reason, listen, Burnley weren't good enough anyway. They weren't a good enough team, but there were multiple times during the season where he just stuck to his principles, and no matter what happened, he just stuck with them. He didn't change them, didn't try and adapt. Took out James Trafford way too late. James Trafford he's a young, talented goalkeeper, but it was too much for him, and you could see it was too much for him. And you just think Bayern Munich are going to try and wrestle that title back off Xabi Alonso's Leverkusen, who are still going to keep him, by the way, staying at Leverkusen next season. And you think, wow, Vincent Kompany's one of your names, but you've seen Bayern Munich. I don't know if people are fully aware, but since they announced Tuchel's leaving, they kind of in the scenario that we were in when we got rid of Jesse Marsch, and no one would come. But this is big Bayern Munich, and they're starting a fresh season, and they're having trouble finding a new coach. And look, De Zerbi's available now as he's left Brighton. There's managers out there. So if Kompany gets the gig, I mean, fair play to Kompany, man. If he manages to do that one. Darren saying Bayern must be desperate. Listen, I would say they're in a little bit of a transition, just a little. I still think that they'll probably come back stronger next season, but they weren't the same team as they've been in previous years. I mean, that's been quite clear. Gavin, at this rate, we can get Jesse Marsch to Man U. If he leaves Canada, Gavin, he's at Canada now. But Nige is saying a Chelsea bonkers Poch started getting results. Well, listen, I don't know the ins and outs of it, Nige, but apparently, you've heard, if you've heard Pochettino speak through the season, he's been very vocal about transfers, and maybe the hierarchy don't like that. Maybe they just want a head coach that will be given the talent they're given, don't care who's sold, work with the players you're given, and maybe Poch just wasn't on that kind of vibe with them. So it is one of those. It could be one of those. But yeah, in regards to that, okay, let's move on. What should we do? You know what? Let's just touch on. We speak about Burnley. Let's just segue a little bit into Burnley, because it affects one of our loanees. And I kind of touched on this in the Marius Wolf video. I only did an upload for that. So if you haven't seen that, go and watch that. But in regards to the right back position, if we were to go up to the Premier League, I would have expected, and I'm just summarizing it quickly. If it was Marius Wolf, I would expect it to be him and another. I wouldn't expect Connor Roberts to be the right back in the Premier League. I think he's a brilliant championship right back. I think he's very good at this level, which is, I think, a big reason why Burnley have decided to retain him. But at Premier League level, for me, I don't think he cuts the mustard. And it's not like he's even young. I know people probably think he's like, 23, 24. He's near 30, so it's not like there's much room for improvement there. But Burnley just making it clear here. They're extending the contracts of Brownhill, Peacock, Farrell. Don't know why they do that, but Connor Roberts, and a host of other players. I'm not going to read out all of them. Will all return to the club after their loan spells away. And now, obviously, that doesn't mean that we can't sign Connor Roberts. It doesn't mean it's out the realm of possibility if this club wanted to go back in for Connor Roberts that he's just unavailable. But it just means that Burnley have all the intention of retaining him until they get a suitable offer, or I can see them using him in the Championship next season. I think it just suits him down to the ground to use him. He's brilliant for them the year they came up. Wasn't used that much in the Premier League, used very sparingly. And now they're looking to retain him as they come back down to the Championship, which makes a whole lot of sense to me. So, yeah, like I said in the video, I think it will be Marius Wolf if we were to get him, and another. So if we don't get Marius Wolf, I would expect two right backs to come in, and I don't think it will be Connor Roberts. Colin saying, "Congrats, he was good for us." I mean, listen, Colin, on the occasions that we saw him, and I just look at a couple of other things in regards to his time here. When he's played, he's been good. He has been very good for us. But there's been times when he's been fit and he's just stayed on the bench, and that is due to Archie Gray. Uh, fully, expected with that. Archie Gray has excelled at right back in the Championship overall, but there's been times when he's been fit and we've gone with a Firpo Byram combination. So I don't think that maybe he would probably see there's a pathway to play football here, whether it is in the Premier League or in the Championship. I don't know if he would even think there's any point coming back here if his chances are going to be that limited. So maybe he looks for another move elsewhere unless he is going to be used by Burnley. So yeah, I think so, Gavin. I think we're done. Yeah, that CR33 didn't last long, did it, Gavin? I think we're done with CR33. Deshaun saying didn't utilize him. Yeah, Vegos is still there, man. Listen, when this is what happens when you sign players and you get relegated or you can't shift them. They just permanently go out on loan until, and hopefully that doesn't happen to us with some of our loanees that are currently out. Hopefully we can get rid of them permanently. But yeah, that does happen sometimes. Nigel saying if we stay in the Championship, we should try and keep Roberts. Well, we can't keep him because he's not ours, Nigel. I think you mean sign him, yeah. You're probably talking a transfer fee there. They're obviously not going to reloan him to a Championship rival. So you're looking at signing him for money, and I just don't see why the club would do that given his usage since we've signed him. And I don't count the injury. Anyone can get injured, but he has been available and not really used. And we've been crying for a right back, haven't we? So, yeah. So there you go. Connor Roberts, I would say it's pretty much done. Sign him, no problem. So Liam, let's move on from one Welsh international to another. Now, I'm assuming that I'm assuming a lot of you will know who Jordan James is. 19-year-old attacking midfielder. So, and again, a position that we've been crying out for, has been recently relegated with Birmingham City, but is such a tidy player. And not only that, he can play across all areas of the midfield, all of them. Internationally, he's played for Wales in central midfield, defensive midfield. For Birmingham this season, he's played attacking midfield, central midfield, right midfield. He's even scored a couple goals from the left midfield. He's just an all-rounder at 19 people. This is a signing for me that just makes so much sense. It like let's just say, I mean, they've rejected bids in January for about 5 million before, yeah. So let's just say, as Birmingham have descended into League One, they asked for 8 million. To me, that is low risk and high reward. I'm not saying that he's going to go on to be the next Wharton, Adam Wharton for Crystal Palace, but I think he's got the potential to get there. And yes, there's still parts of his game that are rough around the edges. That's to be expected of a 19-year-old, but the talent level is there. And maybe a few of you saw him when he scored 2 goals against Leicester just before the new year. Maybe you saw him then. That was him that scored the double for Birmingham. But his all-around game has got so much to use. And I just think of him in this team. I can already see him being an upgrade on one midfielder we've already got. Not going to say the name, but what he does as well, people, is that he does something that we are crying out for: the late arrival into the box and shoot. That's what he does. He doesn't take 2-3 touches. He gets the ball one time and will head for goal. That is Jordan James. No relation to Dan James. I don't think, people. No relation. But I'm saying, let me just get his numbers, because you might not think it's impressive, but in that Birmingham City team, for him to get 8 goals in that team that has been relegated, that's impressive for me. And I just think of him in this system with the better players around him. The coach that I think would love to have him, he loves his Welsh steel. He has that Welsh steel, and I think that he's the solution. And he's adaptable, good ball player, eye for goal. 19 years old. And even like I said to you before, if he costs 8 million, cool. I don't think he's going to cost that much, by the way. And that's why we need to go in for him. And I think his projection of game, if we were to stay in the Championship, I could see him playing regularly week in, week out. If we ascend to the Premier League, love to take him up there. Obviously, get more experienced midfielders in there to go with him. But see how he gets on. Can he be that breakout? And you haven't had to spend a fortune on him. This could be your guy. Hey man, yeah, listen, he does. He has this thing where he gets where he might get intercepted, and he may try and win it back a bit overzealous. We'll put it that way, Darren. Deshaun, is it? Yeah, listen, Daniel Farke, he loves his Welsh players. He's made no secret of that. The Welsh steel. He's always said that about Ethan Ampadu and Joe Rodon. So yeah, he loves it. Yeah, James 1, James 2. Well, you can go D James and then J James. I think we'd have to do it that way. Mr. P saying it's difficult, but right now we're in limbo with potential signings. Until Sunday's result is known, we would need to keep an eye on both camps, Premier League and Championship signings. Yeah, 100%. And I said that in the Wolf video, that you have to do your due diligence before you know what league you're in. Leicester and Ipswich have got the pleasure of knowing that they're in the Premier League, so they can plan effectively. Right now, what we're having to do with players like a Marius Wolf is say, look, we want to sign you, but we know it depends on us getting promoted. So please keep us in mind. When we get promoted, we'll come back to you. Obviously, if we're in the Championship, we'll walk away. No problem. Jordan James is one of those, though, that is being looked at by one of my favorite coaches. I've made no secret of it, in Gasperini at Atalanta. Let me just get this. And Atalanta have been keeping tabs on him. They haven't made a formal bid at this point. I think they did try in January, but Atalanta, of course, have qualified for the Champions League, as Italy got 5 spots and they finished 5th in Serie A. So if he's looking for that kind of challenge, then maybe there's nothing you can do about it. But it's like I've said before, if you try and get your business in early, sell a project to a player, tell him, the kind of players that you're looking to bring in alongside him to make the team not just relegation fodder, then you can get deals done. It's been done before in history of football. It's not hard. It's just that this club in previous years made it look difficult. But Jordan James, he knows people. He knows Ethan Ampadu, Dan James, obviously, and not obviously because they got surnames. Joe Rodon, Connor Roberts can probably tell him how good the club has been as well. So he's not sure, and I think he's got some kind of connection with Somerville. I'm not sure how, but yeah, there's just a lot of there's just so much I like about it. And it's low risk. If it didn't work out, are we crying over losing 6 million? Really, this football club, the size of this football club, crying about 6 million. And I'm not gonna say, by the way, I'm not gonna say he's along the lines, but the way that he does operate across the midfield and is a goal getter reminds me of a Lee Bowyer type of midfielder. All action, covers the ground, gets up and down, and has got an eye for goal. So, and the potential is there. 19 years old, people. Uh, let's have a look. Atalanta manager is leaving after Europa final, I think. Sure. So I haven't heard that. I know that they've qualified for the Champions League. I've not heard about him retiring. I know Ranieri's retired now, but I haven't heard Gasperini retired, man. I'll be sad about that, man. I really like him as a coach. I love his talent ID and the way that he plays football, man. He's just entertaining. He's probably not going to win you a league. He's probably not going to do that, but it could win you a trophy at some point. And to be doing what he's done with Atalanta over the past few years has been tremendous. And he was one, if you remember, if you were here at the time when Bielsa was, on his way out, Gasperini was my shout to try and, claw him away from Italy. But we didn't have those aspirations then. Clearly, we didn't have those aspirations. Yeah, Coop Miners, you remember Paul? That was my guy, Coop Miners, and I think he's looking to move on from Atalanta. Actually, I think the final is going to be his last game. I think he's probably going to go to another big club though at this point. But yeah, Coop Miners was mine when he was at AZ. I said, put the 14 million down. We didn't have no central midfielders, people. No, we had Forshaw and Bate and Click. I said, put the 14 down. Go get Coop Miners, man. Sell the project and get him. Yeah, but that's what I'm talking about. If you don't get in quick, you lose out to these kind of clubs. So yeah, Jordan James for me, it's a no-brainer. The potential, and also when you're going about the manager's likes, I haven't suggested him that the manager wouldn't like. I think the manager would absolutely love him. So hopefully we'll be in the conversation come promotion or not. I think it'll be a bit difficult if we don't get promoted because I think there are clubs of a height like Atalanta looking at him, but Premier League, Championship, Leeds United should be going for him. Yeah. Well, very well coached, Ian. Very well coached. He's a top coach, man. Really, really good. So yeah, there's Jordan James, people. What else have we got here? I've got so many things open. Shall we take a break from Leeds? Yeah, okay. Just quickly taking a break from Leeds. Have to say and salute because we're coming to the end, people, of the non-system based baller. Toni Kroos announced his retirement, man, and this guy's been a joy to watch. I don't want to say he's been underrated because people know how good Toni Kroos is, but I think his talent got underappreciated, just how good he was, just how important he was to both Germany and Real Madrid. And it's these kind of ballers that are they're retiring one by one, and you realize in that era of football is coming to an end. The creativity in this guy is ridiculous, and he was never the quickest. He didn't have to rely on pace, but the intelligence of this man on the pitch, he was 5 steps ahead of everybody. That's why he lasted so long at Real Madrid. 10 years, 22 titles, nearly 500 matches, legend of the game. And I just wanted to say that's the kind of baller I appreciate. I love these type of players. And when you see them now come through, coaches drilling them, no flair, no creativity, pass it sideways, pass it this way, pass and move. It just makes you appreciate this type of baller. And you just hope that the craft isn't going to completely die with these kind of players. You hope that at some point football can get back to a creative space again. Vinny Jr. is probably and Mbappe to a certain point, probably the closest we're going to get to it at this point. Everyone else they need their coaches to hold their hands. These are real men. They don't need their hands held. And yeah, I'm going to miss Toni Kroos, man, watching him play. Paul here saying Toni Kroos class, Germany World Cup winners in 2014, special achievement winning it on South American soil. He so good, man. Such a good player. But yeah, Toni Kroos, love you, man. Love you and good luck in your retirement. And just quickly, I just wanted to say in regards to sport, and this graphic is courtesy of William Hill. And this is in recent, because I don't know if you've seen, but Tottenham and Newcastle the season hasn't finished by but a week. Um, but they've gone to Australia for a preseason for a friendly, and obviously it's always to do with money. And it just goes back to the thing I say when you consider football, it all goes back to the money. Always, we talk about they were scrapping FA Cup replays that are beneficial to lower league team, which again is for the money. Let's not get it twisted. Lower league teams look at replays as in a monetary way. It's not for the fans. So you have to forget all that. But Spurs and Newcastle, obviously this was arranged a while ago, but regardless of if it was or not, they talk about player fatigue, player tiredness. Tottenham put out a pretty decent team today. Porro was playing, Van der Ven, Son was playing. So it's not like they took the reserves, and it's all to do with money, people. I just not remind you of that, but just sometimes when you're looking at these things and you're seeing FA Cup replays being scrapped and everything else like that, just remember it's for money, because you'll see the same teams complain about it go in the summer all the way across the world for a game friendly just to make money in that way. And that's just the way it is, people. It's just the way it is. It's cold, but it's the way of the world. Um, Mike, Archie will take the mantle from Kroos. Hey, listen, if he has half the career that Toni Kroos has had, he would have done very, very well. And that's putting it lightly. Okay, so listen, let's go to the final piece of news that I've got. And that is that Willy Gnonto recently spoke to Leeds Live in regards to his summer absence and going on strike and requesting a transfer and everything else like that. And I thought it was a pretty good read in terms of Willy Gnonto, and it's a lot of what I expected in that. Senior players around him, and a few of you on here, can't remember who it was, talking about Somerville, etc., being instrumental. But again, I said it last summer, and I say it again. It was all really down to the player's agent, who is the agent of Zaniolo, and just looks for clients to move, whenever he wants them to move. And I think that he's learned his lesson from that young guy, and I don't think he'll do that again. I don't think he'll work in that mode again. And just a few quotes on that. If you want the full article, it is on Leeds Live if you want to look. Let's have a look. Gnonto would be missing from the three matches. Okay. Hold on. Gnonto had impressed and caught the eye against Cardiff City's championship defence on the opening day, but the illusion he wanted to return to Leeds top flight shattered not long after. The youngsters' representative took the nuclear option, with a formal transfer request being emailed to Chairman Parag Marath and journalists simultaneously. Gnonto would be missing from the three matches before Daniel Farke drew a line under the matter before travelling to Portman Road. The manager was satisfied with Gnonto's apology and sought to give him a second chance as one of the most dangerous attackers in the second tier. And I did say that at the time. I thought Daniel Farke, in amongst all the noise, absolutely played it brilliantly. Because, previous regimes, previous managers would have bowed down to all the loudmouth passion merchants saying, get him out of the club. If you don't want to be here, F him and all that stuff. Instead of just taking a step back and thinking, well, what prompted him to put in a request at this time and go on strike? It's not a one-size-fits-all thing where a player is just looking to get out. A lot of the times, most of the time, they get badly advised, as we've seen previously with Bobby Duncan, ex-Liverpool striker that went to Fiorentina off his agent's advice and regretted it. And I don't even know what he's doing now. So sometimes it just takes taking a step back. And that's what Daniel Farke did. And I applaud him, so much for the way he handled it. And Gnonto says here, I remember in August being by myself thinking about these types of moments. I was a bit down, but this was my motivation. At the start of the season, I was thinking about what I could have been at the end of the season in regards to these being promoted. Being in this situation now, in this position, is just amazing. I just want to give myself and the team the reward we deserve. We do deserve it, and we will love it too. Farke handled the Gnonto issue as sensibly as a manager could publicly navigate a paid employee effectively being on strike. Leeds had no intention of selling their asset, and Farke was not softening his stance behind the scenes either. And you remember that as well with Daniel Farke making it very clear you don't get a third chance. You don't get a third chance in that. And I absolutely love that approach. I think it was the right approach to take. Here we go. And Gnonto continues. It's really important for a player to feel like someone trusts you. And I feel like the coach has been like this with everyone, to be fair. He has been quite fair. Everyone has had chances. At one point, I probably feel like I needed someone to come and just be honest. When we speak about the different people, the coach, for example, Stuart Dallas, Liam Cooper, and Somerville, Glenn Kamara as well. So many players came to me and they actually helped me a lot. I feel like in my confidence, you can see it because I'm quite confident as a person. But you have different moments throughout the season, and at different moments when I didn't feel that confidence, I'm really grateful for everyone in this team. So there you go. I mean, there is the rest of that there, but that's the most important thing for me in regards to that. Um, and it just speaks about the naivety in his age, and everything else with his agent. And I just feel it just sums up things of what I said before. And I just knew that Gnonto wasn't a bad apple like that. People mock Jesse Marsh for a lot of things, but Jesse Marsh was the one that said that Gnonto was a mature guy, around the place when he first arrived. So it wasn't. I just don't think that you just throw his prams out, toys out the pram and say, no, I'm staying on strike. Otherwise, I'm leaving. Otherwise, I'm going on strike. I just didn't buy it. I didn't buy it. And listen, it's good. It's good that Nanto's come out and said this. I still see some fans don't forgive him. That's their prerogative. But as long as he's doing his business on the pitch for me, it's all good. And I think Nanto's clarified that now, and hopefully that issue gets put to bed. Paul saying Gnonto and Somerville hope they cook on Sunday. Cook on Sunday on that big pitch. You know what? I don't know. I'll be honest with you. I mean, a few other people are saying it. I don't think it's that much bigger. I think maybe just the Wembley Arena makes it look, humongous. Maybe there is a little bit of a dimension change. I don't know. I haven't seeked out the pitch measurements. But not only them, Paul. I want everyone to cook. I want Jorginho to have that same game that he had against Norwich in the second leg. I want Melier to stay focused. If he needs to make out another big save like he did against Sargent, be ready for that. I need everyone to be focused. I need Ampadu and Roden to go back to that form again. We're going to need everyone, people. It's going to take the whole team to get this done. Obviously, we do have our difference makers, much like, not saying we're Oxford, but you saw with Oxford United, they seemed very solid, but then they had that moment of magic, 2 moments of magic from what's his name again? I'm getting the names mixed up. They're twins. Josh Murphy, not Jacob, Josh Murphy. But you see the magic, and you need your key and star players to do that for you. And of course, Gnonto and Somerville will be key for us. Yeah, I think it could be just that. A few inches either there. Yeah, it is. Darren saying, let's hope Rutter gives a masterclass. Yeah, listen, we need everyone. And we'll speak about that, of course, when we get closer to the game. But yeah, people, that is it for this show. Of course, if you've got any thoughts on anything discussed in this one, and it's sensible, please put them in the comments below. Like the video, share the video around. And of course, yeah, I'll see you in the next one, people. Hopefully, I think it will be the preview next at this point. Unless there's any other news, it should be the preview next. So yeah, I'll see you in the next video, people. Peace out.